This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 447.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology. The technology.
Why, hello there, everybody. This is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. We have one, WordCamp next weekend, WordCamp Pontevedra. It's September 24th and 25th. Yeah, that is in Spain, if I'm not mistaken. So check that out if you're in the general region. I won't be there. So moving on, segment one, in the news, a couple of things to talk about here. First and foremost, a friend of mine, Chris Wiegman, actually, he is a developer over at WP Engine. He put out a blog post introducing a new powerful WordPress development environment. He built his own. I guess he didn't find what he was looking for out there for his needs. So we built a new one called Kana, or Kana. I think it's Kana, K-A-N-A. I'll link to it in the show notes. Pretty cool, above my head and my pay grade, but pretty cool for that. Also in the news, Beaver Builder, which is the stack we use over at my agency, they released 2.6, a whole bunch of new things there, new breakpoints, new reusable blocks, advanced settings. There's a link both to the notes, like to the release notes, and a link for the YouTube video showing you some stuff there as well on their channel. And lastly, in the news, for you designers out there, UX, UI, any type of design work, Adobe has acquired Figma in a deal worth of just shot, I guess, $20 billion. Yeah, they outbid me by $19,999,000,000. So yeah, it's kind of sad. I'm bummed I didn't get that deal. Anyway, wow, $20 billion. That's amazing. So there's that. All right. And what's that going to mean for moving forward with Figma? We don't know. I know some people are not happy because they don't like XD. They're not happy with Adobe subscriptions, but that's nor here nor there. All right. So there you go. All right, moving on, segment 2, listener Q&A, because it's been 8 weeks. So I got 4 questions. I think that's, 4 questions. Pretty light, pretty basic stuff. This first one sent in by Anton. What are other ways to send emails from WordPress? Okay, so I believe you're talking about this, Anton, that transactional emails maybe not going through. So it's a good question, good timing, because I recently had to do this for a client. We realized that the form wasn't working on the host in question. They weren't sending transactional emails. So there's a standard answer. It depends. Well, not really. There's actually a few choices here. You can use a service like SendGrid or Mailgun. Either one of those can work. You have to pay. There's like a free level up to a point of so many emails. You can also use Amazon, has a service you can use. In this case, we used a Gmail account. Actually, I guess it's Gmail, but it's with a plugin, SMT plugin, I believe, and you had to set it up through Google Console. So there's some new steps you have to do to make that work. If you don't have that many emails, you can go ahead and use that. But if you have a lot of emails going out, a lot of transactions happening, I would recommend going to like the SendGrid or Mailgun, one of those kind of things. So, and there's plenty of tutorials on that out there as well. So check that out. This next question is from Anonymous because, I understand why. I didn't attend WordCamp US this year, but heard there was some WP drama, that's in quotes, from Matt and a hosting company. Do you know what that's referring to? Well, not to dive too deep into the WP drama, it's like the hashtag, I believe the main thing that was happening there was when Matt indicated a few weeks back regards to GoDaddy being an existential threat in the WordPress space. But again, I don't know why, because I really don't have much knowledge of the rationale, the reasoning. I don't try to spend too much time in, quote, and I'm going to use air quotes here, that space. I hear about the stuff. I read about the way we all read about it to some extent. For the most part, though, I just let it kind of be water off the duck's back. Yeah, so I don't know what the existential threat is or was. I didn't really dive much more into it than that. So I'm guessing that's what it was. But again, being there at the WordCamp US in San Diego, I didn't remember seeing much. There wasn't a whole lot of chatter that I was aware of. If it was there, I was unaware. That's fine by me. All right. So thanks, Anonymous. Kind of awkward. Anyway, another one here. This one's by Kimberly P. You've mentioned that you read a bunch of books every year. I'm assuming, but also want to know, do you also listen to a lot of podcasts? If so, what WordPress or tech podcasts are you listening to these days? Ooh, that's a good one. So I actually did look into this. I looked at my current podcast player app of choice. The ones that I came up with that I have in my player, no specific order. Syntax. I don't listen to every episode here, though, because a lot of it's over my head in tech. So, I mean, it just is in development. So I don't listen to all episodes. I listen to Automators, LMS Cast with Chris Badgett. It's about, using Lifter. Trailblazer.fm. That's pretty new on my queue. Stack Overflow Podcast. Your Website Engineer with my good friend Dustin Hartzler. He's bringing back more shows more consistently now that he has some things to share. He was in transition at work over at Automatic, so that's pretty cool. WP Briefing with Josepha, which is awesome. Hacker Valley Studio, also new on my queue. Hacker Valley Studio and Trailblazer, probably just brand new in the last 4 to 6 weeks tops. So. What else? Oh, and then also the last one, Darknet Diaries. I think those are the ones I have that are tech and or WordPress related. So once again, Syntax, Automators, LMS Cast, Trailblazer, Stack Overflow Podcast, Your Website Engineer, WP Briefing, Hacker Valley Studio, and Darknet Diaries. There you go. And the last question of this session is, what WordCamp are you going to next? And what are the chances that it will be a WordCamp that will happen in Raleigh next year? Who's in this in? No name on this one. So don't know who this is, but whoever you are, I'm assuming you're local to Raleigh. So next that I'll attend, I don't know. This year, it's going to be tough. They're not actually, I looked at the calendar. There aren't really anything local in the country that I could see. Well, there's Buffalo. I believe there's Buffalo actually next month. That's a possibility, I guess. WordCamp Asia is next year. It's early next year. That's also a possibility. But I'm not heading back to the West Coast because of time zones and shifts. I need to sleep and train for the race, etc. So as far as WordCamp Raleigh, not this year. That's definitely not going to happen. And I'd say maybe next year. It just really depends on the overall community here in Raleigh. I was supposed to be the lead for 2020, had to cancel it because of COVID, of course. So we're in September, maybe in November, I'll put together a little committee or a steering, see who's interested in maybe participating, talk to Central, and see if we can pick a date for sometime next spring or summer. I don't know. So, and actually, speaking of that, I meant to mention last week that WordCamp US 2023 dates were announced and location. The dates are, August 23rd through the 25th, I believe. Plus, there's a community summit, 21st through 22nd. So it's like a whole week of stuff going on. And it's going to be in National Harbor, Maryland, if I'm not mistaken. So there you go. I will more than likely be there. So that's pretty cool. And a lot closer to me as well. Pretty neat. All right. That's it for the questions this week. If you have them, you can send them in again for 8 weeks from now. I'll answer some more. Moving on, segment 3, tip and tool of the week. I just want to give a shout out again to Chris Wiegman, his dev environment. I'll link to that in the show notes. You can read about it. You can download it. I think it's in GitHub. And it's pretty cool. So he gets the he gets the tool of the week as well. There you have it. All right. If you have any questions, go ahead and send it in via email, adam@kitchensinkwp.com, or use that speak pipe function of the website. If you want to support the show, you can become a Patreon. I would love that. You can also help me out by sponsoring the podcast. There's a form on the website. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right. Bye-bye.